สัมมาสัมพุทโธสุอาคาโตเยนะภะคะวะตาธัมโมสุยัสสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆธัมมายังภะคะวันตังสัทธสังฆังอิเมหิสักขะเวหิยตาอาโวภิเทหิอาภิปุจยามะสาธุโนปันเตภะคะวะสุชีวะภารินิโตปิปัจฉิมาจนะทานุคัมภมานัสสะอิเมสักขะเวทุกขะปันนาคาลปุเทปฏิอัมหาคังทิหาวทังหิทายสุขายอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวะพุทธังภะคะวันตังอะภิวาเทมิสุอาคาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมานะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณะสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตโรปุริสธัมมัสสารถิสัทธาเทวมนุสานังพุทโธภะคะวะธัมมังภะคะวันตังอะภิปุจยามิธัมมังภะคะวันตังศิรสานามามิสุอาคาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันทิติโกอาคาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปนายิโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโพวินยูหิธัมมังธัมมังอภิปุจยามิธัมมังธัมมังศิรสานามามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยายาปฏิปันโนภ Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samichi Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anutarang Punya Ketang Lokasa Tamahang Sangham Abhipujayami Tamahang Sangham Shirasa Namami. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, freed from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense Excellent. Now it looks like I've got no questions this evening. Questions are coming. I can smell them. Thank you. Oh boy. Okay. Half for you.
Half to say.
No, I'll just try to answer them today. Hello, Ajahn Brahm. Please share your insights on how to deal with selfish, mean people. Sometimes be kind is so hard to do with these people. Thank you for the wisdom. Selfish, mean people. If somebody is really, really selfish and mean, why? A lot of the time is they never experience much kindness and compassion. They think they need to do that to defend themselves. So sometimes if we can give them kindness and react to them in a more kind way, then you're not feeding their selfishness and meanness. Again, just like the anger-eating monster simile. If you're kind to the monsters, then the monsters just kind of disappear, they get soft. And the selfish people, when you react to them with softness, rather than more selfish, get out of my way, and then a lot of times that they too soften up. It's wonderful to see that when you can, that story I told you about that prison officer, who the prisoner just really tried to be kind to him over many days, many months, and it worked. Dear Ajahn, how to overcome 5 hindrances, especially sensual pleasure and restlessness? That was one of the Dhamma talks I was going to give, not tomorrow, but probably the day after. And that is from the Nalakapana Sutta. And it's a very important question. Thank you for writing it. It's, the Buddha said in the Nalakapana Sutta that the only way to overcome the 5 hindrances is get into the deep meditations, the jhanas. And if you can get into the jhanas, it's like the only way to overcome those 5 precepts and get to the truth of things is actually just the same. The only way to get to the heartwood of a tree is to go through the bark and the sapwood. Once you're through the bark and the sapwood, then you can access the pith of the tree. And the only way you can access a pith of Dhamma is to go through the 5 hindrances, get beyond them. And then the 5 hindrances disappear, together with the 2 more qualities, discontent and weariness. I don't know about you, but do you feel sometimes tired? Either organizing retreats or just teaching or meditating. Even sometimes there's nothing much you're supposed to do, but nevertheless we try to do our best, and that wearies you. Once the jhanas arrive, you get a big boost of energy. Weariness doesn't come up, and discontent. You're kind of happy, as well as the 5 hindrances. And you can imagine those 5 hindrances, plus weariness, plus discontent, disappear for a while. And when they do disappear, imagine the freedom and the power your mind has. So if it wants to consider something, wants to develop insights, it's now got the power and the freedom to do so. That's why we always say that the job of the jhanas is to overcome the 5 hindrances. And once the 5 hindrances are overcome, they remain overcome for quite a while. When they do overcome for quite a while, then you have the opportunity, you have the chance of breaking through and seeing the Dhamma. So that's actually the only way. I'll still read that sutta out sometime soon, either today or it's either tomorrow or the next day, because it was on my list. If you look at the computer there, I think they did download most of the talks I had on my little stick. That would be on there as well. That's its importance. May I ask, what is the difference between meditation and mindfulness? Thank you. Mindfulness is never enough. It's one of the Buddha's great sayings that as a heavenly being came up to see the Buddha and said, it's wonderful you teach mindfulness. Mindfulness is so good. With mindfulness you can overcome anger. And the Buddha said, no. It's not enough. It's a very lovely sutta simply because it's there black and white and it's not a translation problem. The Buddha said you need both mindfulness and loving kindness and metta, those two. Just mindfulness is not enough. I like that because some people get sort of a bit surprised. We always have promoted the power of mindfulness. But you do need something more than that, and you may have known that for quite a while now I've been promoting not just mindfulness, kindfulness. So, just change the M to a K. In other words, you're adding the kindness to when you're mindful, and you'll find that so much more powerful. That can actually allow you to stay in this present moment. You're kindful to it. It can let go of a lot of the difficulties. It can let go of past and future. You're kindful to the past and future. You're kindful to this moment. And you're kindful to whatever happens, which means you don't try and control anything. You just let things be and let them evolve. And that's very much how meditation works. You let the meditation evolve. When I was talking about the breath meditation this afternoon, one thing which I never mentioned to you, but it's what I learned quite a few years ago, that when I started breath meditation, I'd always kind of look for the breath. You're supposed to be aware of the breath. Where is it? And somebody already asked me, they say sometimes they can't see their own breath. They can't find it. And that is very much because you're looking for it. So after a while, you're looking for it. In other words, you're not giving the preparations, the groundwork. If you do the preparations and groundwork, present moment awareness, and not giving things names, you find the breath comes to you. And I remember one of the meditators, and I had long discussions with him because he was a bit of a psychologist and using Buddhism to assist his work in psychology. And I said, please, experiment. See if you can not go looking for the breath, but be peaceful, be kind, and then the breath will come to you. When the breath does come to you, it's always much more beautiful and easier to watch. And we argued like that for a few months. And then he submitted and said, actually, you're correct. When you stopped looking for the breath, but just was peaceful and kind, and just waited patiently, then when the breath came, it was so much easier to watch. It never departed. It was kind of my friend. And I keep on saying about friendliness, kindness. But the idea of a friend also is a great perception. So I always look upon my breath as my friend. So when it comes, hi, how you been? Where you been all this time? And we just hang out together. We're not scared of each other, we're not trying to control each other, we're just kind of friendly. And that's important to me. So that's where you don't look for your breath, it just comes. And it's always softer and peaceful. Good evening, he he he. When I practice letting go, letting be at work, people misunderstand me easily as lazy, or I don't care about work matters. That makes me feeling weird. Would love to hear your advice. Thanks. Yes, they may misjudge you, But after a while, your productivity goes up. Not just your productivity, but the quality of your work goes up. And when your quality of work goes up and your productivity goes up, your boss recognizes that straight away. If you're a boss, what do you want out of your workers? Friendliness. We want them to do the job and have high productivity. The work can be very competitive. And that's one of the reasons why I did tell this story, but I didn't kind of finish it off. How heavy is the glass of water when it's full? If you keep holding it, you soon get tired. You soon actually start to hurt. You'll have pains in your shoulder and your arms. So what should you do when it gets too heavy to hold comfortably? You put it down and rest. You don't have to rest for that long. And I tried this, and it feels much lighter after even just 30 seconds. And then I can carry on holding it. And that was one of the stories which I gave at the World Computer Conference in 2019 to justify my being there, because I'm hopeless at computers. Is that correct?
Pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty bad, yeah. But that was something which they didn't expect. And it made its way again to Harvard Business School, where they called it an investment of time. They couched it in words which made it attractive. And that's what it is. You at work, you look at the computer screen for a couple of hours, and you get tired. And because you get tired, your creativity really starts to go down, down, down. Which means that you don't get much done. Apparently children of our mums and dads have told me that children are like that. Sometimes they've got their homework to do and they've just got no ideas of how to complete it. And if you try and force them to complete it, the work is just really horrible. They're not enjoying it. But when you're really enjoying what you're doing, you've rested, and you can get amazing ideas coming out. Productivity increases, and you get the work done really quickly. Wouldn't you love that to happen when you're at work? You say, I'm letting go. But then, you're doing the work. And it's high quality work. And that actually is why they employ you. So what you do when you do the letting go, letting be at work, people might misunderstand you easily and think I don't care about work. Show them how much work you're completing. Look at my story, many stories. When I was doing my homework, for the A-levels at home, my father was still alive. He was getting close to death, but he was still walking. And when I was doing my homework, I was also listening at the same time to loud rock music, mostly Jimi Hendrix. I liked Jimi Hendrix as a young 16-year-old. And so, as I was listening, my father came by and said, focus on your homework, it's really important. Stop listening to music. How can you listen to music and do your homework at the same time? And that's why I was prepared. I got out the latest scores I got for my exams and for the homework which I gave in. A, brilliant, genius. And that's actually my form teacher was also the maths teacher. He wrote this wonderful comment on my report card, from school. He wrote this comment saying, very good, but please know, even geniuses have to look after their personal appearance. And I argue with that. Have you never seen a genius before? They can look whatever they like. But anyway, I kind of appreciated that comment. But it worked because I had focus and I was doing a good job. And you can see the records there, the grades I was getting. That sort of justified everything. So he said, okay, if it works, off you go, carry on. How can you criticize your son for doing the A-levels at 16 and getting straight A's and stuff? So anyway, my father didn't understand how I did it, but he gave me permission to do it. Wouldn't you like if you had a child to get straight A's and go to Cambridge? If he has to listen to Jimi Hendrix for that, fair enough. And I quote that because it's wonderful just how these things work. When I listen to my friend's problem, even knowing I need to be like a dustbin without a bottom, still it makes me drained. That simile, you all know that simile when Ajahn Chah told me that, look, soon you'll become an Ajahn, you have to teach people. You don't just teach people meditation, you teach people anything. How they can overcome some of their problems. And he said, you have to be like a dustbin. You receive people's complaints and receive people's sadness and depression and difficulties. So, but he added this extra piece to it, which I was very grateful for. Be a dustbin, so someone comes up, even in the interviews, you don't always ask questions on meditation. I don't try and stop you because I know it's impossible. So you throw a bit of rubbish in my dustbin, but I've got others to talk to afterwards. So Ajahn Chah said, always be a dustbin with a hole in the bottom. So people can put all their complaints in, all their rubbish in, and it goes right through and out the other end. And then when I walk away, I don't keep anything. That's an important tool of counselling, or being a friend, or being kind. They'll always come and tell you their problems. I don't think it's a problem I've ever heard which I haven't heard before. Every problem in the world. Even from politicians, from royalty. Once, I won't go again on one of my tangents, I went off to Canberra, the capital of Australia, because there was the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne. And I got this invitation at the last moment. All the invitations are given at the last moment. No, honestly, because it was a state dinner with Queen Elizabeth. And, the reason they said, look, it's always, just a few days in advance, simply because of security concerns. They don't want anyone to plan sort of an attack on anyone who was just so prominent. But you got your invitation. I'm not going to go into the fact that there was a problem with the invitation, the dress code. I'm not going to mention that there was 3 types of attire I could wear. And I looked at the first one. What was the first one?
Suit and tie?
No, it wasn't a suit. It was just a tie, a black tie, it said. You know what I'm going to say next? I say, is that all you have to wear for dinner with the Queen? That is actually weird. That's what it said. This black tie. It never mentioned anything about a suit or trousers or anything. But anyway, I knew exactly what it meant. And we don't have a black tie. Not even one. Did we have a black tie in our monastery? I don't know whether there is. I've got none in my hut or my cave. So I don't have a black tie. And the next one was military uniform. And they won't see me in military uniform. And then the next one, I looked at that, yes, I can go. The next one was long dress. That's what it looks like. So I went anyway. But the day afterwards, there was a reception with the Prime Minister. That time it was John Howard. And that was in Kirribilli House. And it said, with a partner. I don't have a partner. So I thought, I know that Ajahn Sujata was living in Sydney then. So I invited him to come along. And I remember he just jumped at the chance. He had a little bit of a problem that his he needed to go to a dentist, I think, the next day. So he rang his dentist and said, please, can I have an emergency appointment on the Saturday? He said, we don't do emergency appointments. It has to be really important. What are you doing? I'm going to the reception with Queen Elizabeth. The dentist said, that's a new one. Okay. So we went there together. And during the receptions, lots of security there, obviously. And during that, Queen Elizabeth was there, and Prince Philip, and who else was there? I don't know. But anyway, after saying hello to them, then there was a couple of people who were just hanging out by themselves, like, wallflowers. And so I told Ajahn, I said, let's go and say hello to this guy. And this guy, I told him he was actually going bald. And so I went up to him and I said, we're Buddhist monks, and I've seen you're going bald, and if you lose any more hair, I invite you to come to our monastery to become a monk. Ha 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 ha. And then after that we just walked away. And Ajahn Sujato said, who was that? I said, that was Prince Andrew. No, not Andrew. Sorry? No, not Charles. Edward. So that was Prince Edward. And Ajahn Sujato, he didn't know who it was. And then he said, you made a joke like that to a prince? Why not? I made that joke to anybody. You know my character. And he always remembered me for that. The one who doesn't respect the royal family of the country in which he was born. Well, I think he needed a joke. Yeah, Prince Edward, yeah. Anyway, so that's why you always have a dustbin with a hole in the bottom. It still makes me drain. If it makes you drain, it means you're putting too much energy into that sort of, listening to that friend's problems. Going to a funeral also drains a lot of energy. How can I protect my energy? You know that going to funerals does not need to drain energies. And honestly, I'm being accurate here, most funerals I enjoy. It may sound weird, but you know my character, I'm weird. And the reason is because at the end of somebody's life, people come and tell all these wonderful stories about who they are and what they did. And especially they have, some of the photo montages, when they came to Australia or when they were born here, what they did and how they grew up and all the difficulties and problems they have. And these are the people who really love them. And they're called eulogies. And eulogies means, a very, very nice account of the friendship and the love you shared over your lifetime. I really enjoy that. That's what I look forward to. And then at those eulogies, they're so well known and so delightful that there was this American guy, and this is a true story, not a joke. He decided, he was dying of cancer and there was no real hope for any survival. So he decided to hold his funeral before he died. A week or two beforehand. He must have dosed himself up with morphine or whatever, I'm not sure. But he attended his own funeral. Why? Because he wanted to listen to all these eulogies. What people thought of him, what they remembered of him. And that's what he did. And he also said, because he was a bit of a joker as well, had a good sense of humour, I can also check who comes to my funeral, so I still have chance to adjust my will. And I thought that was really cool. So if anyone in Singapore, in Hong Kong, or over in Indonesia, if I happen to be there, and you're getting sick, your death is assured, only a couple of weeks or a few days, arrange your funeral so I can actually be there and you can hear what I say about you. Why do you always have to have it just after you die? People are really sad then. Anyway, it's an interesting, different way of doing things. And when you do things differently, I'm always involved. And that's where you get energy out of funerals sometimes. And sometimes they're really inspiring. I mean, some people, I didn't realize how much good work they did in their lives and how much they helped others. And sometimes, sadhu, 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 what a great person that was. And you never want to cry. You want to get up there and give them an ovation. That's why, these entertainers who die, if they go to a cremation, you put them on just this little conveyor, and then they go behind the curtain. If they're a good entertainer, you press the button, they come back again for what they call that, second round of applause. You seen that? Sometimes a great entertainer, they clap, well done, sadhu, sadhu, and they go behind and they come back for an encore. Yeah. So I like that. If I'm cremated, they go behind the curtain, encore, encore, so I'll come out again. Anyway, what is the Satipatthana practice and how does Anapanasati fit into it? That's what I talked about this afternoon. Oh my goodness. Satipatthana practice is part of the Eightfold Path. So if you want to practice Satipatthana practice effectively, you have to start with right view, right motivation. Why are you doing anything? I call motivation, not intention, because intention is where you're aiming for. Well, motivation is where you're coming from. And if you look at what the second factor of the Eightfold Path means, it's motivation coming from a place of renunciation. I use a different word, I say of making peace or letting go. You're not meditating, you're not practicing the Eightfold Path trying to get things, but trying to allow things to vanish. How free you can be. How less burdens you have, not more burdens. And kindness and gentleness. And those two words, kindness and gentleness, that was kind of a relief when I learnt my Pali and looked at these things in the original language. Because I always wondered, where on earth in the Buddha's teachings, especially in the Eightfold Path, do you find the practice of kindness? And that's the second factor of the Eightfold Path. There are three parts to that Eightfold Path, second factor, and the middle one is kindness. And also gentleness. That also really impressed me, because with that story I said about Zen monks, whacking someone on the back, or the story which I love repeating about that, was in China. I learned this when I went to Hong Kong. I learned so much in Hong Kong. And this was when we went to that first temple, what was it? Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And I didn't try, I'll say it wrong. But the monk there was very, very generous and very open, and many monks visited there. And this was one of the monks from mainland China. Of course, monks sit together, have a cup of tea, and we gossip. They're being honest, because there's some lovely stories. So I asked him, and said, what's life like in China, in Buddhism in China? And he said, I'll tell you an interesting story. On a Zen retreat, on a big Zen retreat, the teacher was actually doing like a 9-day retreat, but Zen style, and that he went down the line with the Zen stick, and there's this one middle-aged lady who was a bit sort of nodding, so he hit her on the back with the Zen stick. You know what she did next? She got out her mobile phone. You're not supposed to have the mobile phone, but she had one secluded somewhere. And she got out her mobile phone and called the police. And the police came and they arrested him. They really did. because that was actually against the law to hit someone over the back, especially someone that age. And so he got taken away, and that was the end of the retreat. That's the kind of gossip I like. So that's why you have to be very careful. I would like to ask, I'd like to ask, how do we know if we are on the right path of meditation? Because sometimes I feel so busy in my mind while meditating, and then suddenly I seem just about falling asleep. I am so confused. Right here, when you do some meditation, we always teach things like the preparation, living in the present moment. You know, that's become really popular now with Eckhart Tolle, focusing on the present moment. What he's teaching is a lot of goodness there. But how do you let go of the past? How do you not consider the future? How you let go of the past, I gave an indication on that, about that assets organization. This is really hard stuff to let go of when people have physically abused you and caused you incredible pain. And they do that. How? Opening the door of your heart. Imagine that little boy who was badly beaten for no real reason. And then you don't try and get rid of him or forget him. You invite him in. It was you. You're part of that story. And you embrace each other, that past memory and the present you. When you do that, it's not what psychology expects, but my goodness, it works. And you have no problem with that experience anymore. When you're kind to it, it's not a problem anymore. Then the next thing is, it's easy to let go. In the future, I don't know how many times I think, oh crikey, it's going to get harder and harder. But then I'm kind to the future. Well, I'm always thinking of the worst things which might happen. I'm kind. And it's amazing, the future often surprises me. How the things which are supposed to go wrong don't go wrong. Other things go wrong instead. So that's what happens. The future is always things go unexpected, but unexpected gives you the great opportunities. And so, one of the things I recall from history about the Great Fire of London in 1600 and something, and I always remember that because it started in Pudding Lane. Just the name of that little street brings feelings of kind of joy. They made puddings there. Do you like puddings? No. Oh, anyway, I forgive you. But after the fire, was that a tragedy? A lot of the important part of London was destroyed. But what it gave them the chance to do was to put a sewage system in that part of London. All the houses were gone. So before they started rebuilding, let's actually get a sewage system. It was a sewage system which they put in that part of London. It was absolutely brilliant. Apparently they designed it. They didn't know exactly what they were doing in fluid mechanics, but they looked at a leaf on a tree and just how the small channels went into a bigger channel at an angle, and then went into a bigger channel to allow the what you call the sap or whatever it was, which kept those leaves alive, to flow in the most efficient way. They followed nature. And that was built under London in 1600 and something. It's still there. And it's a beautiful sewage system. And so they could only do that because of the fire. There's always some good things which happen with the worst disasters. And that actually was probably more important than the fires burning so much filthy places in London, that was probably more important, so that was no more plagues. So that's one of the reasons why we're kind to whatever happens. That's why I always keep saying you tread in the dog poo, it's fertilizer. Any tragedies, you can learn from it and grow from it and make a better world from it. So that becomes how you know it's the right path of meditation. Whatever happens, you actually embrace it and get the best out of it. And this is where you can, through kindness, let go of the past. And you're not afraid of the future. Which means you can stay in the present moment. And then you're not busy. I always follow nature as best I possibly can. I remember in Wat Banana Chat in Thailand, we had an area there which a villager sold to us really cheap. And the reason why he sold it to the monastery very cheap, to make a bit of merit, but also he could never plant anything there. We never actually knew why, but nothing grew in that little block of land. So one day we decided to plant some mango trees and also some jackfruit trees. And they just hardly ever grew at all, for years. And we just left them alone. From my methane generator, which also outputted this beautiful sewage, we went and poured that over those trees. And it was only after about 6 or 7 years that the trees, they put down their roots and they finally met water and they took off. They started growing very, very quickly. That's what a tree does. If you make a lot of effort, goodness, kindness, care, then you know the future becomes beautiful. It's not an instant, you do some work and you get results. You know the good results are coming. And if you fall asleep, again, we work our minds, our brains too much. So please have some sleep. Be kind to yourself. And then a lot of the time also, I don't know about you, but sometimes in this retreat, I can't believe it, I'm not sleeping that much. But I feel I'm giving some really good talks for you. And even in the morning time, getting some nice meditations. Not all the time, but some amazing ones. And I think, what's going on? If you're giving and caring, sharing with others, that gives you a beautiful form of energy, which actually, basically, you don't need so much sleep. You don't have that weariness, of when a person has the 5 hindrances and has a weariness as well. Sleep is something which, sometimes you're really tired, but if when you're really tired, you have a bit of a sleep, and it's not much, but you recover, and you feel great. Sleep is really weird. I don't fully understand it, but if I wake up, I'm energized and happy, I carry on. This is an interesting question. Retreat departure form. Where did they go? Sorry? Is this anybody's department? What room are they in? Oh, they're in Teacher's Cottage 1. No, it's not Teacher's Cottage 1, that's me. Suggestion to relax. Suggestion to relax because before meditation. Thanks. A relaxed body. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I know who wrote this. Absolutely. That's, to relax my body. Sometimes people say, how do you relax? You just lean against the wall, put your feet out. Just sometimes you think, how about these meditation cushions? This is my meditation cushion, little tirade. These meditation cushions you're sitting on, they're not Theravada. They're Zafus. They're Japanese. And now they work in Australia. Can't we improve on the meditation cushions we have? Well, this is 2025 now. Why don't we have modern meditation cushions? Imagine a much bigger one with many, many different compartments in the meditation cushion, and you have the remote control of your cushion, and you press one button, and you feel like the air in the back lifting up, so it raises your backside. And you've got another cushion under, say, your left knee, because sometimes if you ever put a cushion under your knee, that really helps sometimes. Put a cushion under the knee and you can lift it up. Another one under the right knee. No, that's too much, so you can lower that one down. And sometimes I go in these Singapore Airlines, the business class, you press another button and you have a massage. Imagine you've got a sore knee and you can actually massage it as you're meditating. And that feels very nice. And for a lot of people, it's always so difficult how we can make sure the temperature is right for you. If you have your own meditation cushion, you can have little jets of air from different parts of the cushion, and you can get the temperature just right for you. I don't know what temperature you would like. In Indonesia, it's a hot country, so you're probably used to 24 degrees, 25 degrees. Would that be good for you? You can set it yourself. In Hong Kong, it's a bit cooler, so you can set it for maybe 23. You can set it yourself. You don't have to worry about blankets and getting too hot or too cold. And so you're so comfortable, you don't get restless. But then sometimes you do have sloth and torpor. So you can press another little button and you can pick out your choice of an English breakfast or latte or decaf or whatever. And then with milk or with sugar or honey or condensed milk, if you're Ajahn Brahm. And you can press that and you get a nice cup of coffee. Oh, here. A nice cup of coffee as you're meditating. And then you can drink that. You don't have to get up. So you can drink that, and that overcomes your sloth and torpor problem. In 2025, state-of-the-art meditation cushions. Would you like one of those? No. You don't have to have coffee or English breakfast tea, 2 tea bags of Dilma. I'll give away all my secret. You can have, what can you have? You can have green tea. What do you like to drink? You can choose. It's all lined up for you. You press the button and it's automatic. And that makes meditation so easy. So and anyhow, you may not agree with exactly the design, but all the different compartments, I can press this button and it get up here and a massage. That would certainly make a lot of money for Biff and for Ehipasiko. He would. Would it, do you reckon?
Sounds like it.
Good idea, okay. I try. How do I deal with someone belonging to the younger generation who complains a lot and gives up easily? You're talking about me. The younger generation, older generation, who complains a lot and gives up easily. You don't deal with them, just be kind to them. Sometimes you learn yourself, why do I complain? Instead of, I always like the phrase, rather light a candle than complain about darkness. When I first heard that, I knew that was important, and that's one of those little sayings which I keep following. If there is a problem, let's do something about it. Don't complain. just wasting your energy, because you'll have to complain about it next week and the week after. So don't just complain about darkness, light the candle. And then you don't have to complain about anything. But a lot of people, they don't like that solution, because they like complaining. It gives them something to do. We have a rule in our monastery. If you complain about something in Bodhinyana monastery, you think we should do this instead. If it's your idea, you have to do it. Is that correct? Yeah. So people say that we need more cushions, then you have to find them or make them. If you think it's too hot, we need a better aircon, then you have to go and go to a few house blessings and get enough money so we can afford one. That's what we do. But then you find out that complaining is not just a negativity. You probably are seeing something which needs to be done. So do it. So if any young person, middle-aged or old person complains about something, fair enough. Do it. It's amazing we get very few complaints when we tell that's our rules of using it. And we have a nice wood fire down in the what do you call that? The dining hall, yeah. And so somebody said, it's really cold today, why didn't you light the fire? You want the fire lit? And usually they know what I'm up to. And they say, yeah. Okay, we need some more wood, so go and get some wood. We have the wood pre-cut, I just need to bring it down. It's a great way to get things done. If you want the wood, then you bring it down. That's what I like to do. Rather complain about darkness. Rather light a candle than complain about darkness. With reference to nimitta, does it have to be an inner vision, please? Can't it be inner sensory experience, e.g. bodily sensation, hearing, etc.? Bodily sensation, no. Because the bodily sensation is disappearing. You don't feel things in the body. Hearing, that is a possibility, but it's much less common than the visual feelings. If you are trained in music, and I don't mean listening to Jimi Hendrix all the time, or listening to some other music which you like, instead of just listening to your favorite band or something, you really are a musician. That's your life, you've trained in it. Then you know the music so well that if you're meditating, you can hear a sound like it's not of the world. It's like a maestro playing some really amazing instrument, but they play it so much better than anything you've ever heard before. That's a sign of a nimitta. And because we are visual beings, you're going to go to that airport when you leave Perth, and you're not going to get a recording of your voice to get through the immigration or emigration. They're going to look at your passport and compare it to your face. We are visual people mostly. It can be other sensory ones, but it complicates things more. Most of the good nimittas are the visual ones. Regarding the 5 hindrances and their relationship with mindfulness, does it mean that for someone who does not have her basic needs satisfied, e.g. food, shelter, feeling secure and safe, it will be difficult to practice mindfulness, please? Yes, but not impossible. The Buddha always said this. Now, please do not indulge the body, but also do not do practices which tire the body, exhaust the body. which is called Atthakila Yoga. The Buddha tried to not eat, not wash, tried all the ascetic practices, and he realized that was getting him nowhere. So that was his first teaching. Please do not do what I had to suffer for, to realize it doesn't work. And then what the Buddha did, the Buddha to be, he washed, he ate properly, put on some weight. That's why I am a great follower of the Buddha. Then he actually started to eat properly, to wash, and to exercise, and to build up his energy again. And his first 5 disciples, his first followers, took one look at him, and they decided he'd given up the practice. They thought, he's going to go back to the lay life and become a prince again. So they departed. And when he was fit and healthy, kind of like normal, that's when he started his meditation practice again, sitting under the Bodhi tree of Bodh Gaya. And of course he got into the deep meditations. And from the deep meditations, the insight which made him fully enlightened, a Buddha. And so that became his first teaching, which he taught others, of the middle way. Don't go to excessive pleasures, and don't go into practices which tire and make your body weak. But nevertheless, I know this monk, and when he was a young monk in Thailand, and he got the sickest he's ever been in his life. And because he was so sick, in hospital, his energy was just totally gone. He never experienced such low energy. And even though Ajahn Chah would always come and visit and would say such amazing things as, don't worry, you'll either get better or you'll die. The frustrating thing about someone like an Ajahn Chah, you can never argue with him. It was always true. But it's not what he wanted to hear. But anyway, this young monk, he decided to meditate. And that young monk says that after he meditated, he had a look at his posture. And his posture, he'd never seen a posture like that in his life. One leg this way, one leg that way, an arm over here, an arm over there. He'd been in hospital with a fever for 3 or 4 weeks. And even so, with a really strange posture, with so little energy, could still get into a jhana. And that was weird. But welcome. If you've been suffering with fevers for such a long time, and you can still get into a jhana, wow. It taught that monk. I can't tell about personal experiences, but that monk learnt that even if you are really sick, that was with typhus fever, you can still get into jhana. It's weird, but you can. And afterwards, of course, you feel so great. So he said. So, someone who does not have his or his basic needs, like food, shelter, feeling secure and safe, or feel like you're dying, would it be difficult to practice mindfulness? Difficult, yes, but not impossible. You can always practice mindfulness and kindness. Oh, this is an interesting question. Cockroach run fast and fly suddenly. Although home is clean, their guests come without invitation. As Buddhists, what we should do in the Buddhist break the sila, how to sila, since how cockroach to confess. Look, I've told you already that if it's like a cockroach in your home, please be kind. Just please open the doors of your house so the cockroaches can be happy somewhere else. If you close all the doors of your house, they have to stay in there. Then you're stuck. We've, for a long time now, is it this time of year, we have the mouse problems? Because the mice, the poor mice, they live in the forest and they get really cold. So they come up into the roofs of the kutis, or the cottages, and they have a lovely time up there. And so it was because of one of those mice or rats, I don't know what size it was, that they actually bit through some of the pipes, and that's where the water flowed into one of the rooms. And so we had to dry the room out. Unfortunately, it survived okay, the floor. I don't know about the mouse. But I think people like Christine, they catch the mice in Buddhist mouse traps. The Buddhist mouse traps, they just go in and they just can't get out again. So we have to make sure that we look after them once they've been caught. I remember one year I had, about 3 mice a day we caught in the teacher's cottage. Do you remember that, Nicholas? It was amazing how many mice came in there. And he took them to the mouse trap up to the front gate and then released it. And then another one came in a couple of hours later. It looked exactly the same as the one before. But it wasn't at all afraid. I reckon that it knew it was safe, and it just goes up for a nice excursion to the gate and just walks gently back again, goes straight back in the cage and goes for another excursion. Don't you like going on holiday somewhere? Isn't it exciting just getting on a plane or a bus and going somewhere? So this mouse was really enjoying mouse was really enjoying himself, I reckon. But what we usually do, in the old days anyway, if we caught a mouse in Bodhinyana monastery, we take it a bit further away. Where we take it would be to Karnet prison farm. We thought that's appropriate. We wanted to teach the mice the law of karma. If you bother the monks in the monastery, then you have to go and spend a few hours up in Karnet and walk back. It's a long way from there. Is that appropriate to send a mouse to jail? That's what we did. Are the 5 precepts actually 6? Because the category in the 5 precepts, entertainment, and adornments, etc., is a single category. But it is 2 categories in the 8 precepts. Please can you list the 5 precepts and then the 8 precepts? The entertainment is not in the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts is not deliberately killing a living being, and not stealing, taking what's not given. Number 3, no sexual impropriety. The 4th precept, no lying. And the 5th precept, no alcohol or drugs. As for entertainment in the 8 precepts, you come every evening to these talks to get entertained. Is that true, Marty, entertaining? Yeah, it's true, good point. But it's not just for entertainment's sake. There's a purpose behind that. And that is to make the meditation deeper and better. And of course, you've heard the reason why this works. Sometimes, when you tell a funny story, people's mouths open, ha ha ha, and that's when you throw in the pill of Dhamma. I'm not finishing, but I'm going okay. I've done a lot, actually, quite good. So I'm going to carry on for a little bit longer. It's 9:01 now. Is that okay to carry on a bit longer? Hong Kong is a bustle and hustle city. People are indifferent. No, you're not. I know many of you. You're not indifferent. Materialistic and hash. Hash? You mean hash? Can we still get jhana in that environment? Yes. How to have a happy life in Hong Kong? Thank you. Invite the monks over there more often.
Easy. No, they are busy.
Oh no, the other monks are busy. Oh my goodness. Bodhinyana is a very, what's it called? Bodhinyana is a hustle and bustle monastery. Monks are indifferent, materialistic, and I don't know, hash. Can they still get jhanas in that environment? Of course they can. How can they have a happy life? No, you have the opportunities there. Yeah, people are very fast sometimes. But there are many opportunities. Even in Hong Kong, do you work 7 days a week?
Some people do.
Really, you? No, some people, if they work 7 days a week, see if you can lessen the workload. And there's always ways of being more productive. And being more productive means like meditating more and being more sort of innovative. I kind of liked it in Hong Kong, even the first time I went there. People were very kind. And it's because it's a small sort of amount of land. It's still, they've got these wonderful little places, like that little island you took me to, with that monk with this nice little small monastery. It wasn't hustle and bustle there. You can make little enclaves of peace and quiet where people do a lot of meditation. Why not? How to be happy, that's another thing. Each one of you, have lived in Hong Kong, what good have you done in the past? That's how to be happy. Remember your contribution to society, to even Buddhism or temples. Remember your contribution to your parents. And think of just your sacrifice, what you've done. Don't just forget it. Remember it and just rejoice in it. There's a lot of very, very good people over in Hong Kong. Please rejoice in them. And when you actually remember how you've served and helped, that gives you so much good energy. I tell this to the monks, and I practice it myself. If I am tired, but I want to do some meditation this evening after this meeting, I go back to my room and just brush the teeth and I don't want to go to sleep yet. I just sit down, make a nice warm cushion, and then I think, what have I done today? Who have I helped? Who have I served? And when I start thinking about that, contemplating that, and I start also saying, how do they feel about that? And I soon get up huge amounts of energy. It's this joy. You've actually done something for somebody. And something which you think is maybe normal, but for them, they really value that immensely. Don't be concerned or think you're being proud by turning yourself on, with gratitude or with joy. And a lot of times, if I feel I'm getting proud, then I'll think of my father or Ajahn, and I'll give him the blessings. Thank you, this is what you did for me and how you trained me. Now I'm passing that on. You see this? I know how to get happy. Just by remembering all the goodness which I've witnessed and been part of. And that makes me really feel, oh yeah. And then, okay, now I'm energized now. I can start meditating more. You mentioned in stillness we can attend jhana. Stillness in Pali means samadhi. And when samadhi gets really still, that turns into jhana. Can walking meditation keep moving the body? Can it still help attain jhana in walking? Thank you. I had this discussion with other monks for a long time, and I always stated that you can't attain jhanas while you're walking. It's just too active, even if you're walking very slowly. And then one monk said, "You're wrong, Ajahn Brahm," because he knew a monk over in Thailand who was walking and did get into jhanas while he was walking. And the proof was they had a lot of band-aids over his face. Because if you're in jhana, you've lost perception of the five senses, especially your physical feeling. So he kept on bumping into things and walking into trees. If you did that here, you got into jhana where you're doing walking meditation, we'd know. We'd hear you go bang as you hit the wall. If you did it outside, imagine if you did it out here, because it's not a level ground, you'd probably walk over a cliff or something. Because you wouldn't know what was on the other side. You'd lost your sense of sight, lost your sense of feeling, and just carry on walking. A lot of you would end up in the lake. That's what jhana is. Your only perception is of the mind, not of sight, physical feeling, sound, smell or taste. Those senses have gone. Remember what I said about being in that Zen retreat when the wall vanished? Imagine that you're walking, you haven't got a clue where you're walking to. Most of you walk into the forest. We'll have a hard time finding you. That's true. Anyway. Dear Ajahn Brahm, what is the purpose of life? Oh, that's such an easy question. For Buddhists, is it to learn what you had not in the past lives, to minimize suffering, to decrease bad karma so that finally we don't have to reincarnate? That's good enough. What are we then? Not beings, but frequencies? You're beings, but you can turn off. I had one of these little machines, we called it the Parinibbana machine, remember? It was so, sorry? Parinibbana machine. And it was so popular, you know that how we raise funds by auctioning everything. That got auctioned off. I kind of miss it. So it was a machine, a little box, and you turned it on. It had a switch on the front, an ordinary switch. You turned it on with a switch, and then you could hear it sort of, something was moving inside. You can hear a motor start moving, and then a little flap came up from the side. A little hand came out and turned it off. And then the hand went back inside, and that was it. That was his purpose, to turn itself off. I thought, now that is the Nibbana machine. That's you. Your whole purpose in life is to turn yourself off. You understand? Only very wise people can understand that. You need lots. Can I behave myself now? You need lots of meditation and lots of insight to understand the meaning of that machine. And when you do have those insights and deep meditations, you'll find, wow, what an amazing explanation of the Dhamma that machine was. Is that true? Where did it go to anyway?
Sorry to interrupt. Let's share it. I think that machine is called a useless machine in YouTube. We can find it. Yeah.
It's not useless. That is misrepresenting Buddhism. That is offensive. I'm going to go to get a lawyer. Any lawyers here?
It's in our office now.
In your office?
Yes.
Is it useless? Be careful.
No, not really.
Yeah, good cardigan.
It's like,
Yeah,
we see.
yeah, the machine. Well, I find it really so great that whoever actually invented that, you can saw the connection. How can you turn yourself off? That shows you how. Regarding meditation, is it normal for feelings to emerge when meditating? Sometimes I get waves of different emotions during my meditation. What to do with them? Thank you, Ajahn. There are two different types of emotions. One is the blissful ones. One is the negative ones. They're not all bad. Remember today I was talking about what it's like when you do meditation, it starts to really rock and roll. You get emotions of piti sukha, gorgeous ones. Those are part of the mind. You can call them emotions if you wish. Inspirational, beautiful. They're supposed to arise. The negative ones are the ones you don't need. Let them go. Just go for the blissful ones. It's like you have your breakfast tomorrow morning. Which food do you take? Do you have the same type of food every day for breakfast? Some said yes. Freddie was nodding his head, no. So do you have food you like and food you don't like for breakfast? Which one would you take? The Indonesians and Hong Kongers eat the same food for breakfast?
Yes.
They do. They eat the same food as I eat. Baked beans and toast. No, you don't know what you're missing. Anyway, people just, they survive on different things. But anyway, as long as you have enough, you can just choose the ones which make you happy. I know for monks, there was this Zen monk, this Japanese monk. I remember going to his monastery in Heiji, that's Dogen Zenji. And in his monastery, it was very strict and incredibly cold. And they would always have a wash in the morning when the water was 0 degrees. You see ice in the water, they had to wash their faces. Then they worked really hard cleaning up. And they would sit, and if they fell asleep, they get whacked on the back. They didn't have much time to sleep anyway. And very tough, except for the food. Dogen Zenji said, you have to make delicious, tasty food for the monks. And when I heard that, it was totally out of his character. He was always so ascetic, but he said, not for food. And I understand that now, because a Bodhinyana monastery, if any monk is suffering, they mostly suffer from indigestion problems. We have monks from so many different countries, so many different backgrounds. And my job as the head monk there is to make sure there's enough food of what they can digest. I've already mentioned to you, there are some foods I cannot digest, like apples. A fresh apple is delicious, but if I eat it, it causes me a sore tummy all afternoon. The same with honey. Things like garlic, not garlic, ginger. I can't digest ginger. I remember I had one of my birthdays, and they had this fundraising in a hotel, and somebody made they offered some soup in the hotel, and there was pumpkin soup with garlic. Pumpkin soup with ginger. It was delicious, but I had a sore tummy all afternoon. That's supposed to be my birthday. But at least I get to know I don't make this up. It's real. You know your allergies, and you have to make sure you care for them. Otherwise, you spend so much time sort of in your cave with a sore tummy. And it doesn't help with your meditation when you have a sore tummy. And Dogen Zenji realized that. That was in the 13th century. You can actually endure cold. You can endure many things. But when you have a sore tummy, it's right in the center of you. That makes meditation much more difficult. So all the monks and the nuns you meet, honestly, it's not indulgence. It's actually learning how to have a middle way so that your tummy can be peaceful and you can get some really nice meditations. Wow. I've got 3 questions left. Shall I leave them till tomorrow? You want them to do it? Okay, this one I can. How does energy turn into matter? That's a simple question. Do you agree about a statement, life is suffering? Why? It's up to you. Oh my goodness, this is so small writing. Hello Ajahn Brahm, thank you so much for your inspiring talks. How does rebirth happen? How do memories get transferred from this body into the next so that some people remember their past lives? What actually gets transferred from one life to another? Thank you for answering these questions. I hope you have a great night. How do my memories get transferred from this evening till tomorrow morning? Are they stored somewhere? If they're stored somewhere, can you interfere with that storage? Can you extract it and change the question? I'll answer this question. There's other 2, they're simple ones, so I'll do that afterwards. How does reincarnation happen? The best simile I've ever come up with is like how a mango, gets planted and becomes another tree. You eat a nice mango, you get the seed, and after you have the mango, eat it, it's delicious, you can remember what it tasted like. You plant the seed, and then that seed underground, it splits, it germinates, a little green shoot comes up, and minute by minute you can see it grow. It's not suddenly, today it's the same all the day, then suddenly overnight it becomes a shoot. It just slowly develops. The little shoot pokes the top of its shoot above the ground. People think it's like grass, and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And people realize it's not a blade of grass, it's a plant is growing. And they don't know what plant it is, but as it goes bigger and bigger and bigger, it turns into like a little tree, a sapling. As it grows into a little tree, more and more and more, it has other branches, and it has other branches. Then that grows bigger and bigger. And soon at the end of those branches, these little flowers grow. And then at the base of the flowers, if it gets pollinated, you get these little, small little bulbs. And they grow bigger and bigger and bigger as the flower goes smaller and smaller. And that is the next mango growing. And the next mango grows until it becomes like yellow and a bit of red. It's mature now. And somebody picks it or it falls onto the ground. And it's another mango. And the question is, what went across from the first mango to the other mango? The mango tree has been reincarnated and produced new mangoes. What connection do they have? I'll leave that for you to think about tonight. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Wow. Honestly, look at this. This is a world record. Can that somebody bring up, Guinness Book of Records? How many questions have I answered it? Yeah, it's only 9:20, that's not bad. Look, huge amounts. But that's not an invitation to write lots of questions tomorrow. That was a bit of good luck. But anyway, this is for tomorrow. So good night, everybody. Oh, should we do the sadhu, sadhu, sadhu? I was so keen to get to bed too, so I forgot that. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Hee hee hee. Oh. Hee hee hee. I'm supposed to stop laughing, I get coughs. You're not walking back, are you? Because you live over this side. That your mum come back yet?
I think it might be.
Tomorrow's what?
Yana tomorrow.
No Q&A tomorrow.
No, that's true. No Q&A tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do on Friday.
Okay. That's pretty good then. I did so many.
Well, they just put big paper, maybe.
What?
Short question on a big paper, so it looks like a lot.
Yeah. Excellent. Don't answer it fully. Yeah. I still remember that. I used to see. It was great. We had walks, I always get taxi. I love so much.
Nina pizza maybe.
What?
Nina pizza maybe.
Yeah, but somebody else actually.
There was another one.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was online. Thank you for coming. What?
Amazing how they still learn new things.
Really?
Oh, I mean, I know them. They're free.
No, no, no.
I don't have to mess with that. Oh, no, the truth.
Oh yeah.
The second.
Oh yeah.